Hello and welcome to today's LinkedIn Live. My name is Christopher and I have a great show for you today. Because in the studio with me, I have Andy Crestodina directly from Chicago. I met him a couple of weeks ago at Clever Content Conference in Copenhagen. And I've also seen him earlier on some SEO videos from Traffic Think Tank. That's where I got to meet him the first time. And he was so kind actually to come into the studio today and talk about AI-powered SEO and content. And so I'm really looking forward to this talk. And let me start by presenting you. Hello, Andy.
Hello, Christopher. I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
It's great to see you. Great to see you. Yes, as I just explained, Andy, I met you a couple of weeks ago in Copenhagen in person. So what did you think of the conference?
What a beautiful city and country, and kind-hearted, open people. I had it made a very strong impression on me, Denmark in general, Copenhagen specifically. The event was very well done, and Jesper and Stina did a fantastic job of building that community. I didn't realize until the very end just how close, there was like an awards presentation, and you could really feel the energy. I mean, it's a strong community, and of course, built around some of the marketing strategies I love, content and organic channels.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've been to the Clever Content Conference several times, and they're always, that team really has a knack of doing great conferences. Maybe, Andy, we should just, before we going into this content, maybe just a brief presentation of yourself.
Sure. I'm one of the co-founders of a digital agency called Orbit Media Studios. There are 53 of us now. I'm in Chicago, but our team is all over. We do probably 30 or so websites per year. They tend to be sites for mid-sized businesses with very high expectations for lead generation. And everyone's full-time and in-house. We started in 2001, so I've been doing this for 24 years. But I'm a speaker and teacher and writer, and I'm at a lot of conferences. I've been doing analytics since before Google Analytics. I've been doing SEO since the very early days of Google's dominance. And I've been doing content marketing since 2007. So many years in search and social and email and influencer collaboration and analytics and visitor psychology and conversion optimization and all the things that you and I love most.
Yeah, when I see your presentations, always, I feel like I have a kindred spirit because you like to put a lot of actions into your presentations. A lot of hacks, a lot of tips that people can actually go in and implement directly afterwards. Is it always like that? I mean, what's your intent when you go and present?
Well, I give lots of presentations. If you include webinars, it's maybe like 100 a year. Sometimes there's several. I'm doing 2 LinkedIn Lives today. Very busy. But I would say what people want from me is very practical tips. My content strategy has been from the beginning practical tips about content marketing, analytics, web design. If I'm giving a presentation, I start to feel anxious if people aren't writing something down or getting a new idea for what to go do specifically immediately afterwards. Every few minutes. While I'm presenting, every few minutes, you should be getting a new idea for something you can go try immediately. That's my expectation for myself. And I think that's why organizers ask me to speak and why people attend those sessions.
Well, that's good mantra. I mean, sometimes you end up sitting in talks which are very theoretical and they're not really getting into any specific cases. And I think that should be part of any presentation, that you show real life examples. So anyway, let us start out here. And I mean, we said this is just a conversation between us, of course, and I hope, of course, also there's somebody in the chat here who will send some questions. We can just it should be quite a relaxed environment. But what I think would be really interesting to hear for me and also for others is actually, how should you use AI in SEO and content? And I know you sent you gave a lot of tips at the Clever Content Conference, but maybe we should just start out with the 3 arguments you made about how we can stand out from from AI, if you could let us know about that.
Sure. Yeah, I think one way to think about AI broadly is that it can help us do what we were doing anyway. In a way, it's of course extremely new and feels very different, and everything's changed. But in my experience, the best use cases for it are simply to augment or improve the quality or detail and thoroughness of the tactics you are already using. My broad perspective on search is that it is one of several channels for promoting content or being discovered, attracting qualified visitors. Search in a way is not the goal. Attracting qualified visitors is the goal. Search isn't a separate thing. It's a subset of content marketing and lead generation. It's one of the channels through which we attract an audience. It's not the only channel. So you can't really do search without content, and you can't really do AI without having some goal or some method that you're trying to do better. So that, I think, is a calming idea. Just first of all, like, oh, the point isn't search or AI. The point is an outcome or a result. With that in mind, I think about this quote from Jay Baer. I actually have a slide for it. Christopher, if you'd like me to share.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So this is my friend Jay Baer, who is an absolute expert at digital and someone I've learned a ton from. And this is a useful perspective. The problem is not that AI can do what marketers can do. The problem is that marketers can't keep doing what can be done by an AI. So if you want to differentiate yourself in the context of AI, you have to do something different that AI doesn't do. So now ask yourself, it's actually quite simple. What does AI do badly? What can't it do? It can write really generic copy. It can lots of it instantly. But if you look at most of my content, there's lots of stuff that AI really couldn't compete with. This is an example. Hopefully, every one of my articles is an example. This was a post from earlier where I was showing the difference between GA4 and Universal Analytics. AI did not know that was the perfect timing for my audience in that moment. I know my audience, AI does not. And then I write this sentence, and this is a belief I have, I still have. AI is better than Universal Analytics. AI could never write that sentence. Or I'm sorry, GA4 is better than Universal Analytics. That's my opinion. That's my point of view. I believe that. It's a belief. What beliefs does AI have? None. It has no beliefs. It doesn't care about anything. If you care about something, you can write something AI cannot write. Just write what you believe. Take a stand. Write an opinion. AI doesn't really have opinions. So anytime that you make a strong statement, which, by the way, is the definition of thought leadership, is taking a stand or having a belief or publishing a point of view. That's something AI can't do. This video of me breaking it down, that's something AI can't do. And then when I reach out, like I go to my friends who have strong opinions about this, Mike King and Justin Rondeau and Courtney and Amy and Alex and Zanti. These people hate GA4. So I, of course, ask them for their points of view. AI can't do that either. This is how to differentiate your content from AI. Take a stand because AI has no opinions. Collaborate because AI has no friends. And just hit the record button or do what we're doing now because AI doesn't have a face. This is automatically different. This is a more personal format for content. So that's one perspective on it. In my experience, it's very easy to differentiate your content from AI. You're safe. You're fine. You're secure. All you have to do is to stick your neck out a little bit, collaborate with others, whatever you can, and just be yourself. This LinkedIn Live, of course, AI can't do anything that we're doing now. 0% of this moment could be done by AI.
Yeah. And as I think you showed the numbers of the blog post. I mean, it got quite a lot of views, quite a lot of traction on this one. Also, both negative and positive comments. I mean, when you take a stand, something happens, right?
A lot of things happen. There are. So I have a definition actually, and I can go back to slides. When you and I met in person at Clever Content Conference, I was showing some things. One of them was this. This is Seth Godin's definition. I got to sort of meet him at the end of an event, and I got to ask him a question, and he answered. He got very excited because I asked about thought leadership, and I quickly wrote down what he said. This isn't from his writing. This was something he said at an event. Thought leadership always creates tension. It's about making assertions. You have to be willing to be wrong. You can be certain that some people will disagree. I'll reframe that. If if you can't disagree with it, it isn't thought leadership. Thought leadership is not a synonym for content marketing. Lots of content marketing, including much of my own content, is simply how-to instructional content. That's not thought leadership. There's no ideas there that a person can follow. It's telling you how to set up analytics, or like just very pedantic, simple content.
Yeah.
But this, on the other hand, creates tension. It's automatically different. Now, the example I gave, this was sort of funny. I made an article and video about things to remove from a website. You should take these away from. Why do you put PDFs on your website? What a terrible idea. PDFs are not digital content. It's a print simulation. It's got nothing to do with the web. Why do you put press releases on websites? That's a terrible idea. Press releases are trying to get an article written by the press. You should just write the article instead of publishing a press release. Press releases are not digital content best practices. Why do you put dates on your blog? It just makes your content look older faster.
You've got evergreen content. That one. The publishing date, that was a controversial point about the dates. And
all of these. Yes, very triggering. Yeah. People have very strong opinions about that. So then I make a video about that. And I say, these are things you should remove from your website. And the video is, of course, on YouTube. And then hundreds, literally at this point, probably 800 or 900 people are ranting and raving about this assertion. Some of them are very angry. And I made just a fun slide where I showed these. People are writing long paragraphs. People are using all caps. Hey, people are judging me before even reading the video. Comments are enough to tell me to avoid this terrible advice. She won't even watch it. No. This guy called me sleazy and untrustworthy. These people loved it. How much value can you smash into one video? You're awesome. People get personal. This person is criticizing my hair. It's hilarious.
How do you take it, Andy? The negative opinions. I think that's also something which holds people back a little bit. That I'm not gonna offend anyone.
Yeah.
I mean, what's your stance on this? I mean,
yeah.
How do you see it?
I'll address that. I don't take it personally at all because I don't really care that much about those topics. If I don't feel strongly personally about putting dates on blog posts, it's I'm not going to die on that hill. Who cares? This is not a big topic for me. But what's interesting, and I do sort of, if there's anything that makes me bristle a little bit, it's that 100% of those comments are those people's points of view as visitors. None of those people took the marketing perspective of, let's look at data. Is there research showing differences in engagement rate for dated and undated content? They're all giving their own single data point of one perspectives instead of taking it from the marketers. I wasn't talking to visitors in the video. I'm talking to marketers, giving advice to marketers. That's my content strategy.
Yeah.
So that's, and by the way, I put dates in my articles in the headline if it's relevant. Yeah. I do annual surveys and things, and I put the year right there. Anyway, I'll show you I'll use AI in a moment. That's our topic today, Christopher.
Yeah, because I thought I'm just curious when the last article you showed me here, could you if you just reverse engineer this? I mean, how do you come? What role does AI play in this kind of article? Do you use it just for structure? You also use it for inspiration, creativity? How do you go about it?
That's the fun part. And it's so interesting. And AI is a fantastic use case for this because even though AI's writing might be boring and taste like water and be undifferentiated, mostly AI generated content is. But if the AI is a fantastic brainstorming tool, and you can use prompts like this one to find topics that your audience might find really interesting, even if they're not controversial, even if they're not, high stakes, geopolitics and social justice. I mean, there's enough of that content on the web right now. I don't need to go there. So this is my prompt for finding some of those topics, and we could do it live. This is a slide, but we could do it live. In this example, you saw I was presenting. I used a sample industry of like space, like satellite launches. So I asked AI this question: what are some relatively mundane, almost trivial space industry topics that professionals have very strong opinions about? That immediately will tell you what topics people find, what topics will be triggering to an audience. And what's triggering to an audience triggers conversation. What triggers conversation triggers the social media algorithms. And when you trigger those algorithms, they're going to show your content to many, many more people. My average YouTube video might get 600 or 800 views. This one had 300,000 views.
That's incredible numbers. Yeah.
It's probably being viewed right now. The YouTube algorithm, we could look. The YouTube algorithm wants everyone to see this because it's causing engagement, and they want engagement on their platform.
Well, was that how you started? Was that how you found the topic, by using this prompt as a?
No, actually, I'm only. You're the first to ask. I did not use that prompt to find this topic. These are just ideas I had from long ago. This was me updating an old article about things to remove from a website. But I do often use that prompt when talking to people and trying to better understand their industry and their visitor. And we can do it now. Do you want to pick an industry?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I had a client meeting on Monday where I was talking about interim services, and that was actually a quite interesting insights. But I think maybe just something more popular, maybe something more common. Yeah, I don't know. I think
what industry? Which one was it?
Maybe we should do something about wine. I mean, that's something
Sure.
I'm into as a side project. So that could be interesting. It could be. Let's just see what pops up. But I think it's a great starter actually, and you know what I really like about that prompt is also that some of the topics are actually something we take for granted, that there's only one opinion on the topic, but actually, as you say, there could actually be quite strong. There could be two camps of opinions here. That's where the magic happens. And
certainly, yeah, almost certainly. So this is not a classic prompt. Normally, I would teach AI about my persona first, or I would tell it its role. I would give it goals. This is just a very simple demonstration where we're just asking it for ideas. So what are some relatively mundane, almost trivial, wine-related topics that wine professionals have very strong opinions about? Look, anyone on this LinkedIn Live is immediately forming opinions in their brain. You cannot scan this without agreeing or disagreeing mentally. STEM versus stemless glasses. I really like the little glasses. They fit better in my cupboard. I'm not going to break them. My mother-in-law doesn't like them. Turns it down. Could you please? She wants me to change her glass. I will give. She'll ask for a stemmed glass.
Are you against your mother-in-law for all of these different points? Or
well, again, I don't really care. It's a trivial topic. But if you were writing, let's say you and I are a content marketing agency focused on the wine industry. Any of our clients would get huge engagement on any of these topics, and we just got started. This took only seconds. Screw caps versus corks.
Oh yeah, that's a big topic. That's a big topic. I mean, also what I don't understand is that when you open a wine in a restaurant on a screw cap, you still have to taste it. Like, it's just a ritual, right?
That's funny. Oh, interesting. Yeah,
that's weird. That could be, of course, that could be a great insight for an article. Yes, the screw cap versus corks. Yeah.
So but this is just the surface. So as content strategists, let's think about this for a moment. STEM versus stemless glasses. This would be potentially a very interesting visual comparison. Screw caps versus corks. You just mentioned what might be like a hilarious, short form video. Why am I smelling, why am I tasting this? It came out of a screw cap.
Yeah.
Exactly. Pronunciation. This would have to be video. So this would be video, maybe a video roundup of a bunch of different influencers speaking the word out loud. So your brain has to do the subsequent things. This isn't a content strategy, it's just topics. But what I do is I think about the next steps, which are formats, channels, collaborate, like influencer collaborations, repurposing or how to be promoted, how it fits into a family of content. What else do we have on these topics? Serving temperature. If we wrote that we would have then probably link to that from many other things. There's just some of these are more visual. Some of these are more would lend themselves to collaboration. You can imagine.
Yeah, I mean, I remember from the sommelier. I don't know if I pronounce it correctly, but I remember I saw a similar video about croissant, or how Australians pronounce croissant. So yeah, okay. So that's actually something which is always this topic has already gone viral in another way, for another word.
Yeah.
So this actually seems quite legit when you. I mean, these are good ideas. I mean,
Sure.
this is
I
really
mean,
interesting.
if I was, I'm not going to write this article, but if I did write an article about how to go viral on social media, this would be step one.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to find things that will have high engagement without being controversial or risking brand. There's many examples of brands that have gotten great results by taking a strong stand, planting a big flag on their values.
Yeah.
Right. Like when Nike signed Colin Kaepernick as an influencer, as an endorsement deal, who's famous for taking a stand on racial justice and police violence issues. That was a risk, right? It worked out great for them because they know their audience, but you don't have to do that to start a conversation. Even some of these mundane conversations, like in content marketing, like the Oxford comma. People care a lot about that little comma.
Yeah, but I think this is. I think for the people on the call here, I think if you haven't heard about this prompt before, I think that's really a great insight that you can use straight away in your industry. And for sure, that's something I will use much more. Actually, there was another thing I wanted to talk to you about, and I heard at the Clever Content conference. I heard, of course we know the FOMO, but I heard somebody talking about FOMO, which means the fear of messing up. And of course, this was a B2B conference. This is a place where you make big decisions. Maybe you expand your airport. It's like orders for billions. But there's also definitely in the customer journey there is a stage in the awareness interest stage where actually personas or decision makers are making up excuses for not doing anything, right? So I think that's also in content marketing, going up against the natural arguments, the natural showstoppers. Have you used AI for these kind of touch points?
I have, and I always do. It's this is much more subtle than SEO, conversion optimization. SEO is a program. It's software that organizes the internet and ranks things on a 1 to 10. That's mostly what SEO is, information retrieval. But human psychology is infinitely more subtle and interesting and complex. Each of our visitors has a different story in their life. When you create a user experience, you're building something that has to work for a large number, a diverse group of people, and it has to guide their eyes in a way that they get this information that just builds trust and persuades. That's web design, building a visual hierarchy that guides the visitor's eyes through a series of prioritized messages through which they get more clarity and more trust. Answer evidence, call to action. So in my experience, how can AI help with that? Well, it's very difficult, and as marketers, we're very close to our brands. So one of the opportunities to address the fear of messing up your audience is, especially for certain decisions, it's terrifying, right? They don't want to make a bad decision. Like their job might be on the line. They're taking a chance, especially in B2B. I'm a B2B marketer. So one of the things that I do is I use AI to validate or to double check the construction of these pages. I'll give you an example. This is the space industry again. I could do this for when I do sometimes like live events or live formats, I sometimes do these things in a way that are, where we workshop actual pages with more time. But here's an example of a page. It's a low performing page, and it's obvious why. But let's test it in AI. So first, to take a screenshot of the page. To take that screenshot, I use a tool called Go Full Page. You can also use TechSmith, Snagit has a tool. You can also use Awesome Screenshot. These quote
I'm a big Snagit fan, actually. I mean, that's
me too.
Very intuitive.
I use Snagit every day. I made this slide with Snagit.
Me too, all the time. I mean, I think when you are a conference speaker, you probably create hundreds of slides during the year, right? I mean, that's
hundreds.
That's part of the condition.
Yeah. So if people haven't done it yet, I'll do this live. Here, I'm going to take a page. Let's go to some random page on my site. I'm going to go to this page. Actually, this is a very tall page, so Snagit will struggle with it a little bit. First, I'm going to take a full page screenshot. This is me using Go Full Page, and it's just copying the whole page. Then I'm going to save the page to my desktop, and then I'm going to put the page back into ChatGPT. So there it is. Download it. Now I'm going to go to my conversion optimization prompt. It's more fun to do these things live, Christopher.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So here is, and everyone is welcome to steal this or take a screenshot, or we could share it after. I wrote a book about this. There's articles on my blog about this. You can find it. These are all public, basically. Actually, what might be useful is in the blog, I recently published my entire prompt library.
Oh yeah.
So on the Orbit blog, you can find all of my best prompts. I just published them all. I really don't, without hesitation, here they all are, including the ones we've used already.
We're going to put a link in the comments out here on LinkedIn. Yeah.
So I take that page and I take that prompt. We'll start a new conversation here. And then, so now it has all of my best practices, and I'm going to give it the web page. So here's the prompt. I'm giving you a page. Create a list of the ways in which the page copy does and does not meet the information needs of the persona. Oh, very important point, and I skipped that. You have to give AI a persona to run this exercise because, and I'll drag in a persona. This is my ideal client profiles. It's a PDF I keep close by. So it's going to look at my persona and look at the page. Then it's going to show ways in which it does and doesn't meet their information needs. If I did not meet one of their information needs, they're much less likely to convert. The fear of missing out will be triggered. So, but this prompt also includes these best practices. The header indicates the topic. The copy answers questions and addresses objections. The order of the messages aligns with their needs. It uses supportive evidence. The subheads are meaningful and specific. It connects with the visitor on a personal level with people's faces and names. Leverages cognitive biases like urgency, loss aversion, call to action. That's it. So with that prompt and with an accurate persona, you can have AI audit any page and just validate that there was no key information missing. It's actually going to see, look, it's reading the page. It appears to follow an order of importance. It aligns with their preferences. It uses evidence. This page is a masterpiece of conversion optimization. If you want, you go to the Orbit site and you'll see every trick in the book. We generate tons of leads. It uses people, it uses human elements. It has a call to action. Gaps. Oh, they're concerned about cost. I did not discuss pricing. Add a section that talks about flexible pricing options. That person cares about technical expertise. It doesn't address capabilities. I should talk more about custom solutions. Add a section or bullet point about that. They care about timelines. It doesn't mention keeping projects on the timeline. I should ensure that. I should add that data. So what a fantastic way to quickly get a perspective. You may disregard 2/3 of it. So what? It costs nothing and took seconds. The other third that it gives you might improve your conversion rate, which would immediately create additional demand. So
I think also, Andy, I mean, these roadblocks where we're not addressing any concern, I think too many people are taking it too lightly and thinking, oh, then they will just contact me about this question that they have. But in today's world, it's more about just skipping. Okay, this is not for me. I can't find the pricing, or I can't find the timeline of the project. So they probably haven't thought about that, or the price is too high. I'm going to skip it and I'm going to jump to something else instead, right?
That's right.
Or I'm going to go on TikTok for something totally else. So it's so important, I think, to identify those roadblocks, and then, as you say, yeah, you get those roadblocks, and then of course you can decide if you want to include them or not.
Yeah,
But they're
you can
very
decide.
easy to get if you have AI help you in the right way. Right.
I don't know. I can do that for any industry.
Yeah.
If I have the persona, the trick is to give it the persona. But once you have that, if the persona is more, and I have prompts also for creating personas, you need to double check them. They have to be accurate. But no, your point is perfect, because if you don't answer the visitor's questions in the moment, they're just less likely to convert. If you look at analytics, a huge percentage of your visitors are coming from traffic sources where they saw hundreds of options.
Yeah.
The visitor from search, guess what? Your website has a back button. and the traffic source is telling you that they came from a place where there's millions of options. You are competing with what was just in front of their eyes. When you look at your website, you're thinking, you're starting fresh, right? You're looking at it as if it's the only page in the world. But your visitor came from a place with intense competition. There's so many options. So yeah, I need to see, I have these 3 top concerns. You only address 2. Let's look at another option, right? That's the best pages emulate a sales call with the top rep and follow that sales script and answer all of their questions and address all their objections.
Yeah, so you can say that you're competing with the lack of patience. I would say, I mean, not only other search results, but just with this, they want the result fast. They want it personalized, and there's a lot that AI can help us with in order to do so. There's no excuse, you can say. One question I have about personas, because that's also something I actually talked to somebody about yesterday. I mean, personas can also be very generic, and they can actually make, sometimes they can make the word harder, because personas can be a stereotype, or maybe they shouldn't. Maybe they definitely have their time and place in a customer journey or in a content creation. I mean, how do you use personas in an efficient way for you?
Well, most of our projects are B2B lead generation websites. So we do stakeholder interviews, and then we create a conversion guide. And the conversion guide lists their decision criteria for selecting a company in that category. B2B personas don't really need to have like, does she drive a Volvo and have a dog? Like, she's 32 to 46. Who cares? Doesn't matter. You don't need that. That's not helpful. It doesn't really make any difference at all. What matters is what are their, and my persona prompt is structured as such, what are their hopes and dreams? And that's often a personal thing, right? They want to look good on their team. What are their fears and concerns? Why wouldn't they take this action? What's stopping them? What are they afraid of most? What are their emotional triggers? Right? There's a true story in the life of every visitor to every web page. What happened that brought them here? Frequently in our world, it's like there's a new person involved, there's new leadership, and that creates this interest in resetting.
Yeah, it always starts with a life event, right? I mean, something happens. Yeah.
Something happened. Something happened to this person. If you don't know what that is, it's harder to speak to them. So, but ultimately, you need to know what the decision criteria are for selecting a company in your category. There's in SEO. You're going to hire an SEO firm. What are you worried about? Transparency. Am I going to work with a senior person, or am I going to be delegated down to some junior drone? Is this going to be, how does the reporting work? Does it follow through to the bottom of the funnel, or is the person just trying to get traffic? Is this, have they worked with companies like mine? How long will it take to see results? If you don't know what those concerns are, you do not know how to make a website. You just don't know how to you're going to make a page that just says, we love us, and it's not going to sell anybody.
I think for me, it also sounds a bit like we're too focused on USPs instead of actually confronting the fears of these nagging questions, which just ruins the frictionless experience, right?
It does. I'm going to state a strong opinion now that many people will likely disagree with. Your brand sort of doesn't matter. Your visitor doesn't care about brands. People really mostly don't care about brands. They care about themselves. They care about their problems. They care about getting their problems solved. They care about time and money and quality. How many brands do you think your visitor loves? It's not really, yeah, later on, after you've built a company that is top of mind in your category and do all good things to make that happen. But when you're building a page, your idea about writing brand focused copy isn't really conversion copywriters don't care about that mostly. PPC and landing page experts, they're not thinking about brand. They're obsessed. They are laser focused on the emotional triggers and the information needs of the person who landed on that page. Pixels appear on the screen. Human eyes see pixels. What happens next? It has very little to do with what you want your brand to feel like. It has much, much more to do with what they care about in the moment. Okay, so now people will get. I fully appreciate that thousands of people disagree with me on that, and I'm fine with it.
That's a blog post, Andy. Oh, you probably wrote it already.
I don't want to start the fight. I mean, it's misunderstood. It's hard to frame that properly because of course brand matters, but it's not really what matters to the visitor in the moment when the page loads.
No. I guess it's a quality stamp. You're just seeing out of your one side of your eye, maybe, just giving you the trust. So I think maybe we've been through. I think you've given some great practical examples about using prompts for your work, for your content. I mean, this is the versus prompt, one thing against the other, strong opinions. That was really great to get that one. There was this. I think the last thing we just talked about objections. Facing objections, making sure that they could be quite hidden. But it's something which is super important to have on the page, and you just showed us by taking a screenshot how easy it actually is. Screenshot plus a prompt, how easy it is to get an analysis of your page. Maybe we should just see if there are any questions out there or comments. Maybe just let me see if you can bring somebody in here.
There is a comment about the correct pronunciation of sommelier.
Yeah. Okay, that's.
I thought it was sommelier. It's not sommelier.
Sommelier. Andy.
Sommelier.
You have to.
I'm in Chicago. It sounds a bit different here, but I love that became a comment.
I'm not in Paris, so I could be wrong. Let's just see something here. I built custom GPTs based on real jobs to be done for customer interviews that I use as my persona for prompts like these. It's been game-changing for our marketing. Keen to try this prompt in it. Thanks. So yeah, not a question, but just a confirmation that we're on the right track here.
Well, and the difference between just taking my prompt library, which you're all welcome to use, and creating custom GPTs is that custom GPTs are great for collaboration or for reusing. So yeah, I copied and pasted in a prompt that did conversion optimization and audited a web page. Could I make a custom GPT for that? Of course. What is the difference? 3 or 4 keystrokes. But if I was, leading a large marketing team that was doing that as part of an operating procedure, I would make a custom GPT so they can all use it very easily. It's something custom GPTs are shareable. So the difference, and this comes up a lot, the difference between using a prompt and building a custom GPT is simply collaboration and productivity, if that's something you do every day. Maybe an even better use for a custom GPT is to build one for your persona and then just talk to it about your content.
Yeah. I'm using and now as a one-person band here, a one-man band. I don't have the need to share my prompts with somebody else, but I'm still using something called workengine.ai, which is a Chrome extension to just have a library of my prompts. So that's quite a good approach if you're preferring to use prompts instead of just custom GPTs. So just this regarding brand, somebody agrees here as well that you are 100% correct about the brand. So there's one person here on your side who agrees. But
thank you, Erica. That's and there was another comment of someone who said there's a few brands that they love. The question is really, are there any brands that people love and think of and are top of mind in your category? I could just people who love and hate Tesla and people who love and hate Apple, but really this is all in the context of our visitor in their moment of truth and in their journey. So I can think of big brands that I kind of like too.
But it seems like you brought all your fans here, because I don't find anybody who disagrees. So, that's good. Maybe just this comment here. Maybe this is, Adarka asks, I'm curious if persona theory works now. Seems like the JCBD approach is more relevant. We need to know the pains and work that our client hires our company to do.
I wonder, so that's Adarka Schutt. Adarka, I wonder if you're familiar with Joanna Wiebe and Copy Hackers, because she did a beautiful post about this, saying that basically really the proper way to think of these things is all jobs to be done. I completely agree. Jobs to be done is just a bulletproof perspective on anything that you're looking at, not just a page, but even parts of a page. Everything is sort of it makes us strategic. It makes us focus on outcomes. So I love the jobs to be done point of view. But if you're looking at it, pick your homepage. Yeah, it has a job to be done, but it doesn't exist in a vacuum. It exists in the context of the psychology of your visitor, and in their frame of reference, and in their moment of truth. So I think that you still need to give AI. In my experience, this isn't very good until you train it on your audience, because we're not marketing to everybody. And then with that in mind, you can do the jobs to be done thinking for every URL, every blog post, every key phrase, every social post. Everything else gets easier after that. But I don't think they exclude each other.
Excellent. Here's actually a question, Andy. So how do you incorporate strong humor into an industry brand that tends to be boring? You want to have fun and create trust. So a very industrial B2B brand. How do you juggle that one? The space industry.
Well, I love boring brands. Those are the best. They're the easiest to get traction. They're the most fun. They're where you can really learn a lot about the visitor. It's that's why B2B marketing, I think, is more interesting. B2C is sort of strange to me. It's like, wow, you have to talk to everybody. Like, it's very broad. What percentage of people drink coffee? It's like 1 billion people drink coffee. How am I supposed to know my audience? Anyway, so injecting humor, yeah, there should be opportunities for that. I think it depends on the channel. In search, there's a difference in a way to think about marketing channels. In search, your job is to meet expectations. In social, your job is to be unexpected. They're sort of opposites. So we want to meet expectations or be unexpected. So probably if there's an opportunity to inject humor, it might be on something more, something that performs better in social. In search, it's going to frequently just being, we're building the best resource on our topic, or we're the number one place for people to get information and in our category, or people with that job title. That's about as far as I can go, because I don't know anything about humor.
No, but that's a super important point. It depends on the channel. I mean, it depends on the context. So great.
Yeah, I say visitors from search are busy. Visitors from social are bored.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind.
Exactly. All right, here's another one here. So what are some beliefs that are commonplace in the marketing GPT world that you think are either misinformed or misguided?
That sounds like a prompt. I think writing is the least interesting thing that AI can do. It's just, you don't need it for that. It's not, I mean, the best writing is highly structured. It takes a stand, it throws a punch. The AI writing is just kind of dry and boring, I think. On the other hand, AI is a fantastic way to do analysis. Give AI some of your Google Analytics reports, and it will give you fantastic ideas based on what worked where. The all pages report, if you add a secondary dimension, it's a little blue plus sign, add session source medium, export that, give it to AI. AI now has all of your content and all of its performance in all the channels. It can tell you what works where, just from one report. So there are some of the most interesting and useful things you can do with AI are some of the least common. Some of the most boring and least effective things you can do with AI are the most common. So I think it's a good time to bust myths about AI.
Yeah, I mean, we also have this fantastic term in SEO, the programmatic SEO, which is basically letting AI loose to write content, and that's the most boring content ever right now. It's like a local taxi service or dictionary or something like that. But I definitely agree on this, that great for structure, great for research, not a great writer. But I have some, I have one of my ideas, Andy, which actually was to. I have an office dog here. If you can hear him, he's
No, I love it.
So what we
Yeah,
have,
I can't do that.
Yeah, exactly. So I have a method I created, which is called the T method, the transcription method, which is basically saying, I'm not an authority of many topics, but I would like to write about many things. But instead, I can use what already exists in podcasts, in video, and all this, and I can have AI help me write the content, but it's still based on human input, right? I mean, that's the thing, and I think that's the biggest misconception, the writing. Yeah. So
yeah, that's a great use case, Christopher, because if you give AI a large piece of language of content, or video transcript or a podcast transcript, one thing I've done that with is if you have like an hour long, like let's say we took this show and we wanted to promote it, take the full transcription, put it into a text file, give it to AI, and ask, what are the most compelling or counter narrative sound bites? What statistics or points of view will be surprising to the reader or visitor? And when it tells you that, that's your social media post.
Yeah.
It's very hard for a human to look at a large body of work and say, what are the counter narratives or contrarian points of view or compelling sound bites or surprising facts? AI does it in seconds. So it's a powerful tool for the social media marketer to find good social content from long formats.
Yeah, for sure. That's I think that's just to make sure. I think we are around 50 minutes now. So I think, Andy, let's take the last question or the last two questions, and then we'll let you go here. So which are the most productive use cases in your experience in your field?
I think that the best marketing starts with the bottom of the funnel. So I would start with that use case of where I audited the web page. That's a bottom of funnel lead gen conversion impact use case. All marketing should begin with the bottom of the funnel and then move up. There's no point in improving your content strategy if your contact forms are broken. You'll never generate any leads. So I always prioritize. I like to do marketing backwards and start from the end of the visitor's experience and then move upwards through the funnel. I have to say I love that one. But for all the different methods, I have my favorite use cases. Personas before anything. I could share, but I made a prompt once where I gave it a Google Analytics report, and it showed me on a beautiful chart the time of day and day of week when my visitors become leads.
Okay.
11 a.m. on Tuesdays are the most common time of day and common day of week for my visitors to become a lead. Now I know when I need to be available to answer the phone. Now I know, when to do outreach. Now I know when my audience is active, when to send emails. If you do paid, you can turn up your budgets for that time. All that was a GA4 report showing traffic to the thank you page with a date, time, secondary dimension added. Give that to AI. It will make you a heat map matrix showing the time of day and day of week when your visitors convert.
Excellent, Andy. There's so much good stuff here. Let's see if we have a last question, and then we'll round this off. So maybe something about the future of search here. So Mehdi is asking if the future of search is about supposed personas behind generative AI searches providing digest outcomes. Should we concentrate our efforts on personas or more about how to differentiate and highlight our content in generative AI chat answers? And so build tricks to be mentioned as a source in the answer. Concerns about dilution of the message because of the new medium.
I have, here's a quick point of view on this, and I will share this as a slide because this is something that we talked about earlier. First of all, in the era of AI, we need to focus on phrases for which there'll be clicks. Because, in the old days, we had information intent queries targeting content marketing and commercial intent queries targeting sales pages. But in 2016, fact intent queries became no-click queries because of featured snippets. In 2018, simple answers became no-click queries because of people also ask boxes. And now 2024, even longer, people who want a longer answer are no longer clicking because of AI overviews. So the future of search is to stay focused on the phrases for which there is visit website intent. It's kind of a new concept. You may not have, you won't find that in any reports or tools, but I would 100% focus on that. Having said that, I think that this is an era when you have to not just follow the leader. There's going to be more content than ever. Create content that has novelty. Create content that has a different answer. Don't just do what SEOs are notorious for, just doing what other people are doing. Instead, inject some of that original research into your content. It will attract links. Inject some of that opinionated content. It will create novelty. Just make your content more detailed and comprehensive, but also come at your topics from a different angle. I think that will create more security in the future of the disrupted category of search.
Excellent. Well, I think we got around a lot of different topics regarding AI and content and SEO here as well. So I hope that everybody got a lot from this. I definitely got some takeaways which I can use for my own work. So thanks a lot, Andy.
Thank you, Christopher, for the extra time. I can tell it's getting dark there.
Yeah, exactly. It's not the sun; it's just my lamp. But it's 5 o'clock in Denmark. It's winter and cold, and just want to get January done, also February if possible. But yeah. So
this was wonderful. Thank you for the opportunity, Christopher. This was a great conversation.
Excellent, Andy, and thanks a lot for everything you gave to the audience. And I think the last thing is I will just see the link for the AI prompts that you explained earlier. I'll just find it and put it in the comments here as well, so you guys can have it.
Sure. Yeah, it's this is the I'll share it with you. I think if you can push it to LinkedIn. I don't know if this tool allows us to share from there. But
just put it in the private chat. Then
there fine. You go. That's excellent. My shared prompt library.
Great. All right. Thank you, everyone. If you can just stay on, Andy, for when I send this. Perfect.
Thank you, everyone. See you online.